I still remember the smell of her kitchen that afternoon, coffee left to cool on the counter, a faint trace of orange cleaner on the tile. I hadn't planned on being there. My friend had texted me to drop off his guitar amp. He was running late, said his mom would be home. When she opened the door, it was like walking into a memory I didn't know I had. Ms. Carver, Anna, had always seemed composed at the edges, hair pinned up, voice even. But that day she was barefoot, sleeves pushed back, sunlight cutting across her face. I felt my throat tighten before I even said hello. "Come in, you can just leave it by the stairs," she said, but her voice caught slightly at the end, like she wasn't sure of her own invitation. I set the amp down. "He said he'll be about 20 minutes. "Of course," she murmured, glancing past me at the empty driveway. For a second she looked younger, almost fragile, the way she rested one hand against the doorframe. I should have left. Instead, I followed her into the kitchen. She poured herself coffee but didn't drink it. The cup stayed between her hands, turning slowly. "You're at the university now, right?" she asked. "First year," I said. "Still figuring it out." She smiled, not wide, but like she'd been holding it back. "It's strange. Watching someone start. You forget what it felt like." Her eyes flicked up to mine and stayed there a heartbeat too long. I noticed the small things, the faint tremor in her fingers, the way she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, then left it there as if she'd done it by accident. I said something dumb about classes, but she didn't answer right away. She stared at the coffee again, then set it down untouched. "You look tired," she said softly. "Late nights?" "Sometimes." I shrugged, but it came out more like a confession than a joke. She reached out, just for a second, brushing an invisible piece of lint from my sleeve. It wasn't even a touch, more like a question she didn't finish asking. The kitchen felt too quiet. Outside, the wind rattled a loose panel on the porch. I swallowed. "You okay?" She blinked, as if she'd been somewhere else. "I'm fine." Her voice was low now. She stopped herself, shook her head slightly. "Never mind." I wanted to ask, but the words wouldn't form. Instead, we stood there, not talking, while the clock ticked louder than it should. She finally spoke, almost under her breath. "You don't know what you do to me." The words landed like a stone dropped in water, no splash, just a widening ring of silence. I froze. Did I mishear? She didn't look at me, she looked at the window, arms folded now as if bracing against something. "Anna," I said, but my voice was rough, too loud for the small kitchen. Her phone buzzed on the counter. The screen lit with a new message, but she didn't reach for it. She turned toward me instead, eyes bright and unreadable, like she was waiting for me to speak first. Before I could, the doorbell rang. The doorbell broke whatever had been building between us. Anna inhaled sharply, pressed her palms flat on the counter, and called, "1 second!" Her voice was steadier than she looked. It was only a delivery, a small brown box she signed for quickly. When she shut the door, she kept her back to me for a moment, as though arranging her expression. "Sorry," she said, half a smile. "I wasn't expecting anyone." Her phone still buzzed on the counter. I saw my friend's name on the screen. He was running late again. "You don't have to wait here," she murmured. I almost left, but something in the way she held her shoulders, stiff but not cold, rooted me. "It's fine. I don't mind." She exhaled, a tiny sound, then turned. "Coffee?" I nodded. While she poured, I caught myself studying her hands. No ring. I remembered she'd divorced when my friend was in high school. He told me once, offhand, that she'd given up teaching after it all fell apart. I'd never asked why. "You still play?" she asked, nodding at the guitar amp by the stairs. "Yeah. Mostly at night. Helps me stay sane." "That's good." She set my mug down. I used to play piano. Before. She stopped, stirring her own coffee without sugar. Before life got busy. Something in her tone made me look up. She wasn't meeting my eyes. Do you miss it? She gave a small laugh. Some days. Some nights more than others. Silence settled between us again. Outside, the wind shifted. A plastic bag scraped across the porch. I realized how late it was getting. I shouldn't. She began, then stopped. She reached for her cup, but her fingers trembled slightly. I tried to keep my voice even. I know this is complicated. She glanced at me sharply. Complicated? I'm your son's friend, I said quietly. And you're. She looked down, a flush creeping up her neck. I know exactly what I am. I wanted to take the words back, but instead I sipped the coffee and felt it burn my tongue. We sat opposite each other at the small kitchen table, 2 mugs between us like props in a play we didn't know the lines for. I'm sorry, I muttered. Don't be. Her voice softened. It's just, after the divorce, I promised myself I wouldn't let anyone close. Especially not. She bit her lip. Never mind. Her confession hung there, unfinished. I reached across without thinking. My hand brushed hers, not a grab, not a claim, just the briefest contact of skin on skin. Her fingers didn't move away. For a second we stayed like that, silent, the tick of the kitchen clock louder than our breathing. She looked up at me, eyes full of something I couldn't name. Neither of us said a word. Her fingers under mine were warm, hesitant. Then a sound from the hallway made us jump apart. Footsteps on the porch, then the click of a key in the lock. I shot to my feet. Is that? It's him, she whispered. Her son. My friend. The door swung open before either of us could move. He stepped in, headphones around his neck, oblivious. Sorry I'm late, he called, hauling his bag inside. Traffic was insane. Anna's face shifted instantly, a practiced mask. She moved to the counter, reaching for a dish towel she didn't need. It's fine. Your amp's here. Her voice was calm, but she wouldn't look at me. Hey man, my friend said, bumping my shoulder. Thanks for bringing it. No problem. My throat felt dry. He dumped his stuff by the stairs and headed up without even glancing at the kitchen. Be right back, just gotta change. We listened to his footsteps retreating upstairs, the door shutting. Silence again. Anna stayed by the sink, gripping the edge. Her knuckles were white. I should go, I murmured. You can't. He'll know something's off. We stood there, caught in the quiet. The clock ticked, her breathing uneven. You're shaking, I said before I could stop myself. She closed her eyes. This is wrong. I know. My own voice cracked. But I can't. She spun, eyes bright with something like anger or fear. Don't say it. I stepped back, but she followed, her hands tightening around the dish towel. You don't know what you're doing. She hissed, then softer. You don't know what you do to me. The words hit harder this time. Upstairs, a door slammed. Anna startled. Go, she whispered. Please. But neither of us moved. The space between us seemed to shrink. Her hair had come loose, falling over one shoulder. I wanted to reach out, to tuck it back, but my hands stayed at my sides. She shook her head, as if to break a spell. You're too young, she said under her breath. I'm too. She stopped, pressed a hand to her temple. I'm not a kid, I said quietly. Not with you. A pause. Her eyes flicked up at mine. The air between us felt heavy, almost electric. Then we heard his footsteps again. She grabbed my wrist, urgent. The back door, she whispered. Now. We moved fast, slipping through the laundry room and out onto the small back porch. Cool air hit us. We stood there, hearts hammering. From inside came the muffled sound of her son calling her name. She didn't answer. We were only a few feet apart. Her hand still gripped my wrist, but now it slid down, fingers finding mine for the briefest second before she let go. "We can't do this," she breathed, but she didn't step back. Neither did I. The cold night air clung to my skin, but I hardly felt it. Anna stood a step away, one hand braced on the porch railing, the other pressed to her mouth like she could hold the words in. Inside, her son's voice drifted faintly through the kitchen window. She closed her eyes. "He's looking for me," she whispered. "You don't have to explain," I said, but my voice shook. "I do." She turned to me sharply. "You're making me." She stopped, biting down on the rest. "Making you what?" Her eyes flashed. "Feel. Want. Things I'm not supposed to want." My chest tightened. "I'm not a game." "I know you're not." She gripped the railing harder. "But you're his friend. You're half my age. I swore after the divorce I'd never." Her breath hitched. "I can't be the woman who ruins her son's life." I stepped closer before I realized. "You're not ruining anything." She let out a low, humorless laugh. "That's what I told myself the first time you smiled at me." A long silence. We could hear a train somewhere in the distance, its horn carrying across the dark. I swallowed. "When I'm with you, everything feels—" I broke off. "It doesn't matter." "It does," she said quickly. Her voice cracked now. "Because I think about you. More than I should. At night. In the mornings. It terrifies me." The words hung in the cool air like smoke. I moved a fraction closer, enough to smell her perfume, faint and warm. "Anna." Her name came out like a plea. "Don't," she whispered. But she didn't move away. "You're shaking," I said again. "I'm angry at myself." She drew in a deep breath. "At you. At how easy you make it to forget who I'm supposed to be." I wanted to touch her face, to stop the tremor in her voice. "Then stop pretending," I said softly. Her eyes met mine. "Say that again." "Stop pretending," I repeated. She stared at me, lips parted. Her hand rose halfway, like she might reach for me, then froze. "If I cross this line," she whispered, "there's no going back." We were inches apart now. I could see the pulse at her throat. "I'm already past it," I said. Her breath caught. She closed her eyes, tilting her head slightly as if the world had gone too bright. For one suspended heartbeat, everything in me moved toward her, the words, the distance, the need. And then from inside the house came a sharp knock at the back door, a voice calling her name again, closer this time. She flinched, eyes flying open. We both froze, caught between what we wanted and what we feared, the moment balanced like a match about to be struck. The knock at the back door wasn't my friend's. The voice was lower, older, and it sent a jolt through Anna. She stepped back from me, pale. "Anna? It's Greg." Her ex-husband. I'd only seen him once at a graduation party, but I remembered the heavy shoulders, the voice that filled the room. Anna's hands went straight to her hair, trying to pin it back, but they shook. "He wasn't supposed to," she murmured. "Do you want me to?" "No. Don't move." Her whisper was harsh, panicked. "Stay out of sight." She opened the door just enough. "Greg? What are you doing here?" "I was in town. Needed to talk." His voice carried easily to the porch where I stood half in shadow. "We should tell him, Anna. He's old enough now." "I don't think tonight." I saw his car. My stomach dropped. "Whose?" Anna asked quickly. "Your son's friend. The musician. He was at the house when I drove by." Greg's voice hardened. "Anna, don't tell me, Greg." She cut him off, sharp but low. "Not here." They stared at each other through the crack of the door. Greg's hand came up as if to push it wider. Anna's back stiffened. I've changed my mind, he said quietly. If you're going to keep lying, I will tell him myself. Anna's breath hitched. Please. Not tonight. Greg hesitated, then dropped his hand. We'll finish this later, he said, and walked away, his footsteps fading into the dark. Anna shut the door and leaned against it, eyes closed. For a long moment she didn't move. What was that? I asked softly. Her eyes snapped open. He thinks. She stopped, pressing a hand to her temple. It doesn't matter what he thinks. It matters to you, I said. She turned on me then, voice trembling. You don't understand. He knows about the affair I had before the divorce. He knows how it destroyed everything. If he thinks there's something with you. She broke off. I stared at her. It was nothing, she whispered. A mistake. I swore I would never do that again. The confession hit me like cold water. So I'm another mistake? No, she said fiercely, stepping closer. That's what terrifies me. We stood inches apart, both breathing hard, the porch light flickering above us. Inside, her son's music started upstairs, a bass line shaking the ceiling faintly. Anna's hands hovered in the air, then finally dropped. I should tell him you're here, she said. And this before. Before she could finish, my phone buzzed. A message from my friend. Did you leave already? Mom's acting weird. I looked up at her. She looked back at me, eyes wet, every line in her face caught between fear and want. Neither of us spoke. The ground beneath everything we built shifted, and I didn't know which way it would break out. Anna's kitchen was dim except for the small lamp by the sink. We had come back inside after Greg drove away. My friend was upstairs, headphones on, lost in his music. The house felt like a held breath. Anna stood by the counter, arms crossed tightly. I leaned against the doorway, phone still in my hand. Neither of us had spoken since the porch. Finally she said, He's suspicious. Greg. My son. Everyone. I'm tired of hiding. Her voice was low but steady. You don't have to hide, I said. She gave a small, bitter laugh. That's easy for you to say. You can go back to your dorm, start over. I stay here. I pick up the pieces. I stepped closer. Then tell him. Tell both of them. Or tell me to leave. Just stop standing in the middle. Her eyes flicked up to mine, searching. You'd walk away if I asked? If it protected you, I said, though the words scraped my throat. Her jaw trembled. That's what makes this so unfair. You shouldn't be the one protecting me. I'm not a kid, I repeated. I chose this too. She covered her face with her hands, then dropped them. The affair before the divorce, she began. It wasn't about love. It was about being seen. I hated myself for it. But with you, her voice cracked. It's different. I keep trying to treat it like a mistake, but it won't stay in that box. I swallowed hard. Then stop putting it there. A long silence. Upstairs, the bass line stopped. We could hear her son moving around. Any second he could come down. The moment felt like a window about to close. Anna stepped toward me. If we do this, there's no pretending afterward. I know. My voice came out quiet but sure. You'll be judged. I'll be judged. She was shaking. It could ruin everything. I'm already ruined, I said. For anyone else. Her eyes filled. She reached up, fingers brushing my jaw. Don't say that. Then give me something else to say. She stood there, trembling, then exhaled as if letting go of a long-held breath. I'm scared, she whispered. So am I. Another silence. The kitchen clock ticked once, twice. We were so close now our foreheads nearly touched. Then we're honest, she said. No lies, no hiding. But we do this slow. Careful. For him. For us. That's all I wanted. For a heartbeat we simply stood like that, hands hovering, eyes locked, both of us fully exposed, no more excuses left. Somewhere upstairs a door opened, footsteps started down the hall. Anna's hand found mine, warm and deliberate. Whatever happens next, she murmured, we choose it together. And then the footsteps reached the stairs. Her son appeared at the bottom of the stairs just as Anna and I let go of each other's hands. He paused, frowning a little. Mom? You okay? Anna's face softened instantly. I'm fine, she said. Just tired. Her voice was calm, the way it always was when she needed to keep a secret from him. He nodded, looked at me. You heading out? Yeah, I said. My heart was still hammering. Cool. Thanks again for bringing the amp. He disappeared back into his room, music starting up again, the bass muffled behind the door. The house was quiet once more. Anna leaned back against the counter, eyes closing. That was close, she whispered. I stood there for a second, then crossed the kitchen. We don't have to keep sneaking around, I said softly. She opened her eyes. We can't pretend this isn't complicated, she replied. But I meant what I said. Slow. Careful. Honest. I reached for her hand. This time she didn't pull away. I'm not running, I said. I'm here. Her thumb moved across my palm, a small, human gesture, nothing dramatic. I spent so long believing I'd used up all my chances, she said quietly. That everything after the divorce was just aftermath. Then you showed up with that amp and looked at me like I wasn't a cautionary tale. You're not, I said. You're just Anna. Her eyes flicked up, bright but steady now. Then promise me something. If this starts to hurt you more than it helps, you tell me. No hiding. I promise. A faint smile. She squeezed my hand, then let go and moved to the window. Outside, the street was dark, rain beginning to tap against the glass. It feels like a beginning, she murmured. I stepped up beside her. Or at least a real chance. We stood like that, shoulder to shoulder, not touching but close enough to feel each other's warmth. The rain picked up, soft and steady, a sound that made the house feel smaller, more private. Anna turned slightly. We'll talk to him when the time's right, she said. No more lies. No more pretending. Okay. She looked at me a moment longer, then reached up and brushed a strand of hair from my face, the way she had almost done on the porch. This time her fingers lingered. I don't know where this ends, she said softly. Neither do I answered. But we're here now. The rain blurred the streetlights outside. Her son's music thumped faintly upstairs. And in the kitchen, just for a moment, everything felt possible. I smiled, a small, uneven smile that felt like mine. We'll figure it out, I said. Anna's lips parted as if to reply, but she only nodded, eyes glistening. We stood there, two people who'd finally stopped pretending, waiting for whatever came next. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?